Hey, friends. Hi. Hey, everybody. Hey, Gail. Konnichiwa. Hey, C. Morales. Hello. Can't believe it's been 4 months already. Look at that. Hi. Happy 4 months anniversary. Happy 4 months. We're halfway to a baby, almost. Halfway to a baby. Hey, Donnie. Hey, hey. Hey, Margaret. We're in her back pocket. All right, let's see. Who else have we got? Donnie needs a Karen Reed detox stat, right? I know. Thank you for the sparkle. You're welcome. Gail says, right, Donnie, I just couldn't stay away from all the interviews. I still have to watch the Dateline and the 2020. I still have to watch those. I have not watched those yet. I wanted to this weekend, but then it didn't happen, of course. How is everybody? How have you all been the last couple of weeks, actually? How's everybody been the last couple of weeks? Mad at yourself for what? Why are you mad at yourself, Donnie? Hey, Spins. Member for 10 months. Look at that. $10 months. We got a 1-month-old now, right? Oh, you strongly disliked but watched. Yeah. Well, I have to go back and watch a few things from it. I have been like on a true crime what's the opposite of a binge? Hiatus, I guess. Is that the right word? I don't know. I've caught some major things, but for the most part, I have been staying busy with detox. Is that it? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe detox is the right word. Maybe. Not sure. I don't know if I would call it a detox so much as just a little bit of a step back from it. But anyway, I have been busy with other things and kiddo summer break and so yeah, it's been a good let's say productive past 2 weeks. These are the no, hey Patricia. These are the old ones. I actually got these the same time I got my cute glasses, but I never wore them much because I like the other ones better. So, but these are not new. They're not new, but they're not my favorite. I want my favorite ones back. A sabbatical. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Well, we're going to take a look today at some Kohberger. And there was something that popped up a few days ago, well, several days ago, that I had not seen. And I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but we're going to watch it. It's real short. But before that, we're going to talk a little bit about Kohberger. So, you guys have seen the body cam footage of, let me know in the chat if you've seen the body cam footage that popped out of the gal who said she was the Uber DoorDash driver that dropped the food off for Xana. Did you guys see that? Let me know if you've seen it. Let me know if you have not seen it. It was pretty interesting, I must say. Pretty interesting, I must say. Spin says nope. C. Morales says I heard about it but didn't watch. Gail says no. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, let me go find it. Ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum. First, let's watch this real quick. I found this. This was from Law and Crime, posted a few days ago, and it's just was like an update after the last hearing that they had. So let's check this out. Let me just share the screen real quick. Hold your horses. Patricia said I watched most of it. She's going to get ripped apart on the stand. I think so too. I hope they prepare her for it because Ann Taylor is not going to play nice. No, but like, have they? I don't know if they've even like confirmed. I think it's true. I've been hearing some people say, "Oh, well, is it really?" Or, but I really think it's her. Why would she have just plopped that out in the middle of that police station if it wasn't? Plus, her initials match what was on the court documents. Hey, Miss King. Good to see you. Good to see you. You know what I'm saying, Patricia? Like, I really think it's her. I think she's the DoorDash driver. So, but I'm going to watch. Hold on, let me present. You guys, let me know if the audio sounds normal. I had to switch my microphone on the StreamYard because it like went back to the regular. It like reverted back to the original like computer microphone, and I just want to make sure. Does it sound normal, like my normal good microphone? Because if it doesn't, then I need to fix that. Okay, thank you, Gail. Hey, Chrissy. Good to see you. Thank you, Spins. Okay, so I'm going to share. La 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 la. This one. Share. All right. Let's watch some of this together as soon as I add it up here to the stage. Unfortunately, she's a mess. That's not good. Yeah, I know. But I don't know. I think that her testimony is going to be very beneficial. I mean, to be honest, I mean, whenever the trial comes, when the trial day comes, right? I feel like by the time that they get her there to testify, hopefully they have already shown enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Bryan Kohberger is the guilty party. And hopefully at that point, there's nothing that Anne can really do to, you know what I mean? To discredit her on the fact that she has issues with substances potentially is one thing. But, I don't know. I think it's just going to be good. I think it's going to be good to have her there. Now, I don't know if she really did see him face to face. I've heard that, read that, but I haven't seen any. Patricia, have you or Miss King, anyone seen anything where she actually says that she saw him? Because the body cam footage I seen, the only thing I heard her say was, "I'm the Uber driver and I have to testify in court." That was basically it. But I didn't see anything where she said she parked right next to him and she saw his face. I've been hearing that, but I haven't seen that for myself. We're out of Margaret's pocket now. Good to know. So, anyway, we'll get started with this real quick. This is just going to be an update from the hearing that they had the other day. Well, why did it do that? Hold on a minute.
With what happened with the Dateline episode, that's not all. There's a book set to be released just a few weeks from now to be followed by a docuseries on Amazon Prime. There's a claim that there's inside sources that provide information in this case. Everything that happens in this case continues to be talked about, and this court has a duty, a responsibility to make sure that Mr. Kohberger receives a fair trial.
Big day in the Bryan Kohberger saga. The judge overseeing his criminal case had to decide whether to delay the trial currently scheduled for August. Allegations of leaks, potential tainted jury pool. So what happened? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. If you've been following the case of accused quadruple murderer Bryan Kohberger and expecting for this trial to begin in August, well, I'll tell you what, today was a very important day because it is.
So this hearing was, I believe, on the 18th. So yeah, it was last week. Spins. There's been a lot of stuff coming out. Patricia said, "I can't with Ann Taylor. Delaying this trial is only going to give even more people a chance to see the stuff." I know. And, I think that that's sort of her little gameplay. I think maybe she's thinking the longer she delays it, the more stuff will come out, which in turn, it's like a vicious circle. The more stuff that comes out, the more she can delay it again and again and again, and eventually find a way to get him out of it on some sort of technicality, right? Right, it doesn't matter. This has been talked about. So, and I love the judge too. He's my favorite. Okay. But yeah, and then he becomes the next Sarah Boone living in jail for 5 years. Exactly. Right?
It's all about allegations of leaks, pretrial publicity, whether this trial needs to be delayed in the Ada County Courthouse, to be more specific. Judge Stephen Hippler had to decide whether to grant a last-minute delay to the trial and also whether Kohberger's defense can present evidence pointing to an alternative suspect in the brutal 2022 stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. Rulings, by the way,
I'm sorry. I just don't see that happening. I don't see there being any third party. I know there's a lot of people out there that think that, but I personally do not believe that.
Things that will dramatically shape the trajectory of the case against Bryan Kohberger,
Jesse
the 30-year-old
Weber.
criminology PhD student accused of murdering Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Madison Mogan in their off-campus
Such
home on November
beautiful
13th,
kids.
2022. Prosecutors allege that Kohberger's DNA was found on a K-bar knife sheath that was left at the crime scene. Cell phone records, they claim, place him near the victim's home
Hey,
before the
Laura.
killings. Surveillance footage
Hi,
apparently
beautiful.
shows a white Hyundai Elantra matching Kohberger's car, speeding away afterward. A potential eyewitness ID from a surviving roommate. Also, by the way, we have this separate sidebar that came out today about whether there is a mysterious other additional witness for the prosecution, potentially this delivery driver who saw Kohberger at the crime scene. It is absolutely wild. You can go check that up right now on our YouTube page. But anyway, with opening statements currently.
We'll do that next. We'll take a look at that next. How are you, Laura?
Scheduled for August 11th, Kohberger's defense team, they are now pushing for a postponement. Why? Because they are arguing that a recent Dateline episode, NBC, revealed previously undisclosed case details that has now potentially tainted the jury pool. The episode apparently included leaked information about a lot of potential evidence. Per reporting from Fox News and East Idaho News, we're talking cell phone data that apparently demonstrates Kohberger's phone allegedly pinged almost a dozen times near a tower that provides coverage within feet of the crime scene. Surveillance footage from a neighbor's house apparently showing a car matching Kohberger's in that area multiple times. Internet searches allegedly from Kohberger's phone about Ted Bundy, the Moscow killings, pornography. And the defense claimed that that May 9th broadcast, which featured, again, never-before-seen materials that still remain unavailable through official court channels.
Which, by the way, if you have not caught that yet, if you're following the Bryan Kohberger case even a little bit, and you missed that Dateline special, you have got to watch that. It was so good. So good. And I'm not even going to lie. If I was Bryan Kohberger's defense attorney, if I was Ann Taylor, I would be honked off about it too. And I'd be doing the exact same thing she's doing. But from the prosecutor's standpoint, eesh, they got a lot of stuff. I mean, wow. Laura's obsessed with this case. Yeah, I know. If they have evidence that it could be someone else, they should be able to bring that up, but it has to be evidence, not just it could be. Right, Miss King? Right. And they've been talking a lot about that behind the scenes, like they've been having private hearings. The last one they had, not this one, but the one before, remember they shut down the cameras and they had a private hearing to discuss the third-party culprit thing. And then apparently it happened again this time too on the 18th. They did their normal public hearing and then they had a private hearing again based on third-party culprit evidence, so to speak. I do too, Laura. I do too. Like, I remember when this happened, right? And it was so fresh and people were, it was, oh my gosh. Like, I stayed glued to my phone when this happened. Oh, and it's drug on and on and on and on. And hopefully, you know, if things go the way they should, those children and their families will get some much deserved justice.
Not only did it potentially taint a jury pool, it violated a gag order that has been in place in this case.
That's true.
Now, the defense is filing to delay the trial states, quote, "The show repeatedly emphasizes the non-public nature of this information, stating it was obtained from unnamed sources close to the investigation. Proceeding with a capital trial," meaning a death penalty trial, "proceeding with a capital trial in August would violate Mr. Kohberger's constitutional rights, as counsel needs additional time to assess this leaked evidence, complete investigations, and prepare an adequate defense."
Miss King, absolutely, I will. Now, because it's a 3-month trial, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it every bit, like every single day, but I'm going to try my darndest, and I will, I mean, July, that there'll be August, kiddo will be back in school, so hopefully it will be a situation where I will be able to stream it. Yeah. Because I definitely I'll be watching it regardless, whether I can stream it every single day or not. My nose will be in that courtroom via internet access, right? But if there comes a time whenever I can't stream it, then for sure we'll have to do wrap-ups or recaps or whatever you want to call it, because this is a big one. that I've been super highly invested in.
Now, Judge Hippler has already launched an investigation into this apparent leak, suggesting that someone close to the case, close to the investigation, may have violated this strict gag order. And there's already been a discussion of a special prosecutor being appointed here. The defense, they want a delay, but the prosecutors, they don't. They insist that this trial should proceed as planned. In fact, Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson wrote in a recent filing, "It is time to try this case," accusing the defense of seeking a, quote, perpetual continuance by chasing every rabbit hole. Hey, everybody, this is another law and crime.
Every time they come up with something, she's like, oh, well, this just adds on top of the big mountain of evidence that I don't have enough time to go through before this trial. I mean, look at all the time that she's had. You can't, I know that there's a lot of evidence, but it's been long enough. You've been his attorney for how long now? Hello? Right?
Then visit vgclaims.com/sidebar to answer less than 10 questions.
To continue has been filed and is necessary to protect Bryan Kohberger's rights under the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of Idaho. Specifically, a continuance is necessary to protect his due process rights, his rights to a fair trial, his rights to effective assistance of counsel, rights to confrontation, Mr. Kohberger's right to present a full defense, and if it should come to it, a fair sentencing hearing and be free of cruel and unusual punishment. The record of this case spans 2.5 years, and it shows that this request does not come as a surprise. Looking through the history of this case shows that the defense has met challenges and difficulties along the way, but has been dedicated in meeting all of the deadlines.
From there was a big discussion about discovery in this case, the exchange of evidence from one side to the other.
We have talked about discovery issues in this courtroom before, and that in large part brings us to need a continuance. 68 terabytes of information is a huge amount of information. There have been 23 requests for additional discovery over the span of 2.5 years and 7 motions to compel. When I say that this doesn't come as a surprise, that this comes from the record, I would direct the court to look back to May of 2023 and June of 2023, and our second motion to compel. Included in that was what was known as Exhibit A from the defense, and that depicted how we were receiving discovery. So this is not a new issue. This is something that's been coming up for a long time. We were receiving discovery, but it was such that you would get a file that would say hundreds of photographs, hundreds of pages of reports, each having to be looked at individually to know what was there and then organized.
And then, of course, it all becomes about the media, right? These different shows and productions and the burden this potentially imposes, particularly when it comes to a jury.
This case has also faced unique issues, starting with the media coverage of this high-profile case, non-dissemination orders that were addressed in courts, and then the grand jury materials that we had to fight to get access to before we could properly challenge the grand jury indictment. We faced issues with discovery, particularly with the IGG materials. We spent a great deal of time trying to get access to those materials. Those were ultimately what we could get, was ultimately presented in a motion to suppress, and that's preserved should there be a conviction in this case. We faced venue issues in this case, culminating in the change of venue and bringing us to Ada County. The other reason that a continuance is appropriate in this case is based on
She's like, ugh, why didn't we just stay where we were at? If this were John Judge, if he were still the judge, I could get whatever I wanted.
the media coverage, the Dateline issue that has been talked about in this courtroom before, and what's yet to come. The Dateline episode wasn't just a one-time deal back in May. That continues to be talked about. Everything that happens in this case continues to be talked about, and this court has a duty, a responsibility to make sure that Mr. Kohberger receives a fair trial. That comes from Shepard versus Maxwell, 384 U.S. 333. And a continuance may be the way that the court can best protect Mr. Kohberger. That comes from Patton versus Yount, 467 U.S. 1025. In addition to what is going on with what
I love the judge's just the way he's posed, the way he's like sitting. You can tell, you can read him like a book, you know. She's not in Kansas anymore, right?
happened with the Dateline episode, that's not all. There's a book set to be released just a few weeks from now to be followed by a docuseries on Amazon Prime.
Okay, speaking of the docuseries on Amazon Prime, this is Anne has a southern drawl all of a sudden. He's over it. He is over it. What was I gonna say? This docuseries on Prime is what I wanted to share at the end of today. Because if you haven't seen that yet, oh my God. Anyway, I cannot wait for the book. And I cannot wait for this docuseries. So, how about not commit red rum in the first place, right, Donnie? I know. That would be probably a good idea to not do that.
There's a claim that there's inside sources that provide information in this case. At the very least, the moment we start attempting to select a jury in this case, those things are going to be on everybody's TV, everybody's social media feed, and some of the very witnesses that will be expected to testify will be taking part in the docuseries at least, and maybe noted in the book. That is, in and of itself, an exceptional reason for us to have a continuance to let those things play out for a while.
And remember, this is a death penalty eligible case, and there are complications when you're talking about a death penalty case.
At the first hearing in this courtroom, we discussed the discovery issues and not having read everything and being ready with a full investigation in this case. That was apparent through our motions to strike the death penalty, our motions to compel expert disclosures filed in September and December of 2024, and requests for more time to file our motions in limine that was granted in January of 2025. Throughout the course of the motions in limine and then a motion to strike death based on discovery issues in February and March of this year, the record is replete with notice that we are not prepared to go to trial in this case. The discovery is vast and we have not had a chance to review it all. That we met deadlines for experts shows our dedication to comply with court orders. It does not depict effective counsel ready to go to trial on this case. We would submit that it's the court's responsibility to assess this motion to continue with heightened due process that's required in death penalty cases. The death penalty case is different. That comes from Ford versus Wainwright at 477 U.S. 399 at 411. The court must be sensitive to safeguard every avenue of due process. And the Idaho Supreme Court said the qualitative difference between death and other penalties calls for a greater degree of reliability when death is imposed. And that comes from State versus Creech, 105 Idaho, 362 at 383. Looking at all of the constitutional rights Mr. Kohberger has, effective assistance of counsel really becomes the crux of how all of these other rights are covered for Mr. Kohberger. And effective assistance of counsel applies both to the merits phase and the penalty phase of a death penalty case. The courts are guided and counsel is guided by the American Bar Association guidelines on capital cases. Wiggins versus Smith, 539 U.S. 510 at 524 said the ABA guidelines are guides to
Amen,
determine
Patricia.
what is reasonable. And that's talking about reasonable performance by defense counsel in a capital case.
He actually told her that too in one of the previous hearings. He's like, get some assistance, get some more, paralegals, even. Come on, let's get the show on the road. He told her that. Hire more people, get more people.
The Ninth Circuit in Andrews versus Davis at 944 F3D 1090.
And now she's trying to be like, oh, the whole effectiveness of counsel and blah blah blah. So she's trying to say, because you're forcing me to go into this trial in August after X amount of time, years, whatever. Now that she's been his attorney, you're making me be a sucky attorney because you're not giving me time to get through this stuff. Okay.
2 at 1109 relies on the ABA guidelines as the proper measure to test an attorney's investigation. In Idaho, our public defender statutes reference the ABA guidelines as applying to indigent defense. These apply to the full investigation of the merits phase and require us to raise all legal claims. They require us to perform a background on all witnesses that might be called, especially those being called by the state. That means that we have to review all discovery to be able to present a full defense for Mr. Kohberger. We cannot present what we are not aware of.
Now, before they wrapped up, they mentioned mitigating factors when it comes to Bryan Kohberger and the death penalty.
We're required to perform in a way that the jury can carry out their function of individualized sentencing. That means that Mr. Kohberger's background has to be known and investigated and ready to present to the jurors. Evidence of his character has to be known and ready to present to the jurors, and his circumstances have to be known and ready to present to the jurors. That's addressed in the Woodson case and in the Lockett case. The jury must have the opportunity to consider all evidence that may weigh against the death penalty, and that means anything from his life history. It is the duty of the defense to find and investigate all mitigating information. We do have several experts that would be ready for the mitigation portion of the case should the case reach that phase, and they rely on understanding family history. And
so they're gonna the whole mitigating thing, I think, is where they're gonna have experts to come in to say that he has autism, that kind of thing.
And Mr. Kohberger's own history. They can only understand what they've been presented. And the investigation to fully evaluate needs to be thorough. That means that records have to be collected. That means that interviews, collateral interviews have to be done, and those have not all been completed. It's not because of a lack of diligence in this case. Further, when things that are noted as red flags arise, those things must be investigated. Red flags aren't fanciful ideas of what else could we do in this case. They're real things that come up in the course of the investigation, and whether or not they're important to mitigation and presentation for a jury's consideration requires time to investigate and collect records. Documentation is very important.
So from there, it was the prosecution's turn, and they talked about their objection to the defense's request.
We acknowledge, as the court has, that will pose challenges for jury selection. The issue, though, is not whether there is a lot of publicity. We know there's going to be a lot of publicity regardless of when this trial happens. As Ms. Taylor said, people will continue to talk about this case. The issue is whether the court, using the procedures it has established, or maybe even modifying them as the court wants to, can seat a panel of impartial jurors. The Supreme Court of Idaho has found that despite widespread publicity, even on the day of jury selection, that is possible. That is possible in this case, despite the challenges. The other thing I would mention with respect to the publicity is that it puts us at the whim of the media. Every time there's a breaking story, every time there's a new book or a new documentary, are we going to continue the trial indefinitely? And that seems to be the danger in what the defense is asking for. We call it a perpetual continuance, and we haven't seen a proposal about when this trial could take place. If there's a continuance, what seems to be the strategy here is just to delay. And that leads me to, I think, the other point that Ms. Taylor raised, which was to say that this shouldn't be a surprise. It is a surprise to us that a motion to continue was made so late in the game, after, by the way, the trial date was used to oppose an extension that we filed for with respect to our mental health expert. At that point, the defense said we can't possibly go down this road or give the government the state what it wants because of the trial date. Once that issue is resolved, then we get a motion to continue. So I think what we have seen from the defense is that they tried to use the mass amount of discovery to remove the death penalty from the table. When that failed, now we have a motion to continue. So I do think timing is relevant here. Again, and it's not just that the defense waited so long, it's that we now have a very substantial record on which the court can deny this motion based on everything that's been put in front of the state and the court. In terms of the mitigation investigation, Your Honor, we believed but did not have confirmation that the defense had a mitigation specialist until the reply brief on this motion alluded to an affidavit that mitigation specialist submitted. So I don't know what that says. I don't know what the mitigation specialist has said, but the fact that there is a mitigation specialist, apart from the 3 attorneys and 2 investigators that are part of the defense team, that person has one role, as I understand it, which is to prepare for the penalty phase if we get there. And that person, that specialist, has still time to continue doing whatever work they told the court they need to do. Your Honor, again, I would try to get back to the record and ask the court to look at the objective record when evaluating this motion. 55 mitigation witnesses, over 130 exhibits, a very robust team on the defense side, which includes their retained experts.
Hey, Brenda.
Ms. Taylor, and in the briefing, really honed in on this idea of a social
you
life
too,
history
honey.
for the defendant.
Good to see you.
I don't know if the court has read the expert reports of the defendant's forensic psychiatrist and then the licensed psychologist.
no,
I won't discuss the details in open court, but our position is that both of those specialists, well-trained, very experienced specialists, conducted significant, fulsome life history investigations. They weren't just looking at bare records. They were talking to people from the defendant's past, from his present, his family, and developed parallel life histories. And in their reports, as I read them, no red flags that needed further investigation were noted. Nothing about those reports appeared to be incomplete, and the experts didn't say we are unable to reach the conclusions we need to reach for lack of investigation. So I think that is sort of proof in the pudding. We have a life history for the defendant. The defense has amassed significant materials, and I thought we were going to be solely talking about the mitigation case that still needs to be developed. That is not a basis for a continuance. And to the extent there are ongoing discovery from the state that Ms. Taylor alluded to, I can represent that most of what was just turned over was our investigators speaking with witnesses that the defense has disclosed. So that's the nature of that discovery, is us responding to discovery from the defense. And that will continue, of course, to occur as we lead up to trial and witnesses make statements that we need to disclose to the defense. So with that, Your Honor, I would again rest on the case law holding that a scorched the earth investigation is not what's required. And on the record before the court should exercise its discretion to deny the motion.
And here is what Judge Hippler had to say about all that.
All right, I'll take the matter under advisement. and get an opinion out in short order.
I love the judge's reply.
In the meantime, I fully encourage everyone to continue as if the trial is going to take place when it is scheduled for. Again, I reserve the right to write the decision that I come to, but as of now, I would tell you that it's likely you're going to trial on the date indicated.
Now, that's not to say he won't look into it more and potentially change his mind. But I don't know if he's actually made his decision. He said he would come to his decision in short order, but I haven't heard or seen if he has confirmed or not whether he's going to keep it going on the date chosen or if he's going to delay it. But yeah, Gail, sounds like he's already made up his mind. I think so. So, anyway.
All right, so there you have it. We're going to see.
All right, now let me run over. Hold on, because I want to go. And let me find. I have to go find it. Here it is. Okay, let me share this tab. All right, get rid of the other one. Okay, so this is the mystery witness that they speak of. So the gal right there with the gray blanket on sitting in the jail is allegedly the DoorDash driver from that night in Moscow, Idaho, that dropped the food off to Xana Kernodle. Now, I'm going to watch this real quick. I don't think that I've seen this particular video from Jesse Weber, but I've seen the body cam footage. And, yeah. Hope he moves forward. Me too, Laura. Brenda said yes, and he didn't just say those specific words, no, for court records. So the defense could come back later and say the judge was hasty in his decision. True. True. True, true. All right. Let's check this out.
And so yeah, because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah. You have to testify in which murder case?
Did we just find out about a major witness planning to testify in Bryan Kohberger's upcoming murder trial?
So she was arrested, okay? The backstory is the reason she's sitting in the jail has nothing to do with the case against Bryan. But what it has to do with is she was pulled over for, I think, something like driving under the influence or, like a DUI or something like that. Hey, Billy. Hey, it's good to see you. So she was pulled over and she says she's got like different health issues like fibromyalgia. I don't know what all she's got. A lot of medical stuff going on, okay, according to her. And she takes medication for these things. And they make her do like, I don't remember. I think they made her do like a breathalyzer. She'd been pulled over 2 times. Yeah. I think this was the second time. And yeah. And they take her in. Well, she's upset, obviously, because they took her to jail, or, they're taking her to jail. And she's crying and everything. She's completely devastated, off the rocker, upset. And now, here at this point, the woman that's talking to her at the table now is, I don't know exactly what her job title is. I think she's actual law enforcement, but she does more like investigation into, like, looks at whether she's legitimately under the influence or if it is her medical condition that's causing her to, you know, drive impaired, so to speak. And so that's kind of what this chick is here to do, to talk to her. And she's talking to her and asking questions, so. But she's devastated, and she's like, and all this is going on, and blah, 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 blah. And now I also have to testify in court for those murders of those kids. And I was the DoorDash driver, basically, that everybody talks about as the DoorDash driver. And so she's just having herself a good little cry. And the law law enforcement officer is like, what trial are you talking about? What's going on? What? So let me play it back from the beginning again.
And
now I have to testify. Big murder case too, so yeah, because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah.
you have to testify in which murder case?
Murder case with college girl.
Did we just find out about a major witness planning to testify in Bryan Kohberger's upcoming murder trial? Through body cam footage from an unrelated DUI stop 2 years after the killings of those 4 college students, people online and reporting indicates this woman, a potential delivery driver, may have seen Bryan Kohberger at the crime scene. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Just after 4 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a quiet off-campus house near the University of Idaho would become the scene of a gruesome crime that would be talked about and covered across the world. 4 students, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves, were brutally stabbed to death in their beds. The attack just sent shockwaves throughout the small town of Moscow, Idaho, and it quickly became a national and worldwide obsession. Police quickly zeroed in on who could have done this. And within weeks, they got a suspect. They got an arrest. Bryan Kohberger, a now 30-year-old PhD criminology student at nearby Washington State University. And with attorneys now preparing to head to trial, it's just around the corner in August, a supposed mountain of damning evidence lies in front of them. You have a K-bar knife sheath with Kohberger's DNA apparently on it, cell phone pings placing him near the scene, surveillance footage of a white Hyundai Elantra matching his car. Also, there's been a report of a surviving roommate who might have positively ID'd him in the house. But now, there is one question that remains, one that could potentially turn this case completely on its heels. And that is, was there another witness? One who could place Kohberger at the very scene on the night of the murders. Why do I say this? We got to talk about this new development. It is wild. So it is being reported that the prosecution may have an ace up their sleeve, an eyewitness who may potentially testify that Bryan Kohberger was at the crime scene the night of the murders. I'm not talking about the surviving roommate. I'm talking about somebody else. And I want you to stay with me because it's a bit strange here. Now, the prosecution at this point, and we kind of raced on air to do this, we haven't seen anything to suggest the prosecution has confirmed this. However, what are we talking about? There is an unidentified woman, reportedly 43, 44 years old, that, according to News Nation, she's only referred to as MM in court documents, who claims she was the DoorDash driver that dropped off food for Xana at the home at 1122 King Road that night in Moscow, Idaho. It was reported that she had received a food delivery about 10 minutes before the killing, so right after 4 a.m. Now, why is this coming out? Well, it turns out there is a police body cam video that has been posted to the YouTube account Officer Axon. They apparently publish police videos through public records requests. And this is reportedly from September 2024. So you're talking about 2 years later, out in Pullman, Washington. Again, Kohberger.
Yeah, now again, keep in mind that this body cam footage is 2 years after the fact. So what we're seeing her in there talking about, being the DoorDash driver. This is 2 years later after the killings happened when she was pulled over.
Was a PhD student studying criminology at Washington State University in Pullman. And this interaction with police centers around an alleged DUI stop. So it's not related to the killings. However, the woman in this video says in an interview room, as she's covered by a blanket, the following.
And
now I have to testify. Make murder case too, so yeah, because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah.
you have to testify in which murder case?
Murder case with the college girl.
Oh.
Very possible.
My DoorDash driver, I saw Bryan.
Now, in case you couldn't hear what she says, she apparently says, I have to testify in a big murder case here because I'm the DoorDash driver, so yeah. And the officer asks, which case? She responds, the murder case with the college girls. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Bryan there. I parked right next to him. Wow.
Okay, so
I
I
know.
didn't hear that.
So people-
That's apparently why I didn't hear it, because it's so hard to hear. Like, I struggled when I watched the whole body cam footage, and I struggled to see or to hear everything that was said. She does a lot of sniffling, and it's echoey in there, and you can't make out a lot of what she says. So I'm going to rewind it and see if I can hear that again. Turn the volume up.
My DoorDash driver, I saw Bryan.
Now, in case you couldn't hear what she says, she apparently says,
And
now I have to testify. Make murder case too, so yeah, because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah.
you have to testify in which murder case?
Murder case with the college girl.
Oh.
My DoorDash driver, I saw Bryan.
now, in case you couldn't hear what she says, she apparently says, I have to testify in a big murder case here because I'm the DoorDash driver, so yeah. And the officer asks, which case? She responds, the murder case with the college girls. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Bryan there. I parked right next to him. Wow. I know. So people online, they were quick to make the purported connection here, right? The question, of course, is this true? Is she credible? If she testifies, what does this mean? What did she see? Hey, everybody, this is a law and crime legal alert. Did you know that children are being diagnosed with serious conditions like type 2 diabetes and non-alcoholic?
I've spent 37 years practicing criminal law, 8 years as a prosecutor.
Weird way to find out about a potential witness.
Well,
Is going to be because this. Let me bring on right now Matthew Mangino, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor. Matt, this is a weird way to find out about a potential witness because, again, as we were rushing to come online and broadcast this, we couldn't find anything in court documents to suggest, hey, a DoorDash driver is going to be called, or prosecutors confirming, yes, this is the witness we're planning to call. This is a weird way to find out about a potential witness.
Well, Jesse, it certainly is. And, I've spent 37 years practicing criminal law, 8 years as a prosecutor. People who are pulled over for DUI, it's not unusual to say strange things and bizarre things. So, maybe this is just someone, trying to impress the police officer when they got pulled over. Or maybe, in fact, this person is a potential witness in this case. If she is a potential witness and she testifies to what she observed, it's certainly a bombshell in this case. And it puts Bryan Kohberger right at the murder scene when this happened.
Obviously, you're right. I mean, you're obviously right. She could be making this up. It's obviously a massive case in that area. Maybe it was a way, I don't know, to get out of trouble. Sure, 100%. I totally hear you. Having said that, let's assume for the moment she is an actual witness in this case for the prosecution. First question I have is credibility. If she testifies, could this video be used against her?
Well, that's an interesting question because, normally when you're going to impeach a witness, that witness has to have something in their background that would indicate some propensity for falsehood, crimen falsi. Did, in fact, they perjure themselves in the past? Did they forge bad checks? Did they steal or take from
Yeah, there was,
others? So,
Brenda.
so that idea that she had a
A
DUI
lot.
is not really.
There was a lot of talk. I mean, there's a huge amount of talk about the DoorDash driver from the very beginning. And they've confirmed that, But what most people are wondering is she just saying that she was the DoorDash driver, or was she really the DoorDash? You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it was mentioned that food was delivered in the very beginning. Hey, Rosebud, your pool is 85 degrees. I'm so jealous. That is perfect. Perfect. Lucky you. Can I come dip in? Can I come get in? Dale has been so overwhelmed with stuff he's had to do around here, and yeah, we're beyond opening our pool this year. It's not going to happen. Right, Laura? We're going to go pool party at Rosebud's house. Pool party. 85 degrees is nice. That's the kind of degree temperature that you can just get in and not have to like work your way in, like slowly, like one leg at a time. And then, when you finally are brave enough to go on in up to your abdomen or your boobages, that you're like, where it takes your breath, that's miserable. Yes, that is miserable. So 85 degrees is beautiful. Yeah, my thoughts exactly on the door. Yeah, yep. I'm sure the DoorDash has records of who. Yeah, they did. They do. And, they know. The prosecution knows if this chick is the chick, right? And the defense does too. Everybody involved knows who the DoorDash driver is. It's us as the public viewing that's like, is she really the DoorDash driver, or is she just saying she's the DoorDash driver? I personally believe she is the DoorDash driver. Her initials are MM. But in the court documents, the DoorDash driver's initials are MM as well. And I just think she's legit.
Necessarily an impeachable offense. And certainly, if she says on the witness stand exactly what she said when she was pulled over by the police, then again, she's not contradicting herself. So, the idea that she could be impeached by this may be a long shot.
Well, again, so if she had, these are an alleged DUI stop, you're seeing her behavior, right? So she could be telling the truth, but you also see her behavior. And arguably, there is evidence of intoxication, something going on there. That can't be used to, say, hey, what exactly did you witness? Do you have the most reliable account? Are you the most reliable narrator? So if she does have an alleged substance abuse problem, and if she is
Well, true, Laura. And the gag order was for everyone involved. Everyone was under the gag order. So, I mean, maybe she felt like it was okay to tell law enforcement that she's involved. that she was the DoorDash driver because they don't really count because they're law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she's went out and done a like interview on Nancy Grace or another big network who's following the case. You know what I mean? So, right.
A potential witness, that can't be used?
Well, you could explore that idea of a substance abuse problem, but what I would do is I would say, hey, you know, you're a DoorDash delivery person. You drive a vehicle to make those deliveries. And have you ever driven under the influence? Well, see what her response is. Were you driving under the influence that day? Well, I would never drive under the influence when I'm working. Well, then you might be able to get to that point. But the question again, Jesse, is if she testifies consistently with what she said when she was in the vehicle that night, is that video helpful or is it unhelpful? I mean, she's saying the same exact thing.
Yeah, no, that's true. And it makes me wonder, let's say she does testify, okay? Let's say she is a key witness in this case. What did she see? What did she see? I mean, that idea of being at the house, for her to say the DoorDash, when we believe there was evidence of a delivery, so this is somebody who knew about the case, right? Either she's making it up, or if she's telling the truth, she is that driver. What did she see about, she saw Kohberger?
Yeah, I mean that is huge in terms of testimony in this case, and IDing him at the crime scene. The other issue that I would want to explore if I was the defense in this case is, let's say, for instance, she is the DoorDash driver, but let's say she never disclosed that to the police until she was pulled over for a DUI. Why? And those are the kind of things that I would want to explore with this witness in their background. Why wasn't this immediately reported to the police? Why don't we know about it until we see this video online of her boasting about it to police officers?
Yeah, and that's interesting. And that's interesting because that could jeopardize her testimony in a certain way. But if she says, hey, I was there, and she says she saw him, and the jury believes that,
Hey, P.
is that the end of the case? Could she be the most important witness in this whole thing? Because right now, what did I say? They're planning to use DNA evidence from the knife sheath, cell phone data, allegedly tracking him, surveillance footage, the survival.
Sorry, guys. I'm a little bit freaked out because I think it's a mud dauber, but I can't. Sometimes those little flying creeper bugs, I can't decipher between. I think it's a mud dauber, but it's literally like 3 feet away from me, flying over my overhead light. It's freaking me out. It's freaking me out. Hey, P. Lola, good to see you. I'm a little bit freaked out. Ooh, stay over there. Ooh, okay, it's up there at the very top. Stay up there. I need a fly swatter, y'all. Anybody got a fly swatter I can borrow? I need a fly swat. Stay up there. Get the raid. I don't have any. It's outside. I need your cat. Oh my God. Well, it's up there on my very top shelf. I don't think mud daubers sting, but I don't know for sure that it's a mud dauber. Okay. So, does anybody know, by the way, if mud daubers have that like black AB coating on them? The diamond painters in the community will know, or in the chat will know what I'm talking about. That it has this like black AB looking coat to it. He could get it. So they're shiny. Do they have that like? Oh, there it is. It's back. Ah! Yeah. Ah! Oh God. Do they sting? I didn't think mud daubers stung. Oh, I hear it buzzing. Oh my God, it's freaking me all the way out. Ugh. It's climbing up this shelf behind on my wall here. Did he say she was boasting about testifying in the case? It didn't sound like that to me. It didn't sound like she was boasting either. It sounded like she was stressed out and like maybe she's under the influence because she was stressed out because this trial's coming up any day now, you know? Thank you, Brenda. But do they sting? I didn't think that they stung. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh my God. If y'all see it light on me, say something. If it like lights on top of my head, say something. Oh, I'm freaked out now. They can sting, but only if mishandled. Okay. Oof. Okay. So my question, let's get back to this and hope that I can stay focused. My question is, she said she was parked to him. Where's your pool net? It's out at the pool. Which my pool is not opened, but anyway, she said something allegedly, she said, because I couldn't really hear it clearly, is that she parked next to him. Well, did she park up there up on the hill behind the house? Stop it, Morgana. Ugh. They are shiny. Okay, Donnie. Then I know it's a mud dauber. The pool net. Y'all are cracking me up. But if she parked next to him and saw his face, hey, Mary Lou, then did she park back behind the house on the hill and walk down the hill? And I don't understand. No, I know where the fly swatter is. I have two. I have an orange one and a black one. And they should both be hanging in the kitchen. Anyway, people thought that after she delivered, she pulled up near his car on the road behind the house to reset and prepare for her next dash. She delivered, she pulled up near his car on the road. Okay, that makes sense. Because why would she park where he allegedly parked? Because he allegedly drove past the house and then past that apartment complex and then around the back and then came around and then parked up on that hill back behind the house where you can literally see. And he went down the hill, did what he did, and then come back up and then drove off. Right? So yeah, I'm like, why would she have parked up there to deliver? She's not going to at 4:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think he was creeping in different spots in his car. Oh, he was, for sure. But that makes sense, Patricia, that people thought that after she delivered, she pulled up near his car on the road behind the house to reset and prepare for her next dash. I don't know.
Driving roommate potentially positively identifying him, but if she testifies, I saw him there 10 minutes before this happened. Is that the end of the case?
Well, I don't know that it's the end of the case. Again, based on how you would approach these witnesses and the other evidence in this case, but it certainly, bolsters everything else that you have in this case. So you have, as you said, these cell phone pings, surveillance, DNA. You have a witness, although he was wearing a mask, but now you have someone who refers to him by his first name. It was Bryan. I pulled up next to Bryan outside of this house. If that's her testimony, and the jury believes it, yeah, that may be the end of the story.
By the way, I got to say, if this is true, does this just not more evidence? And if he did this, is this just not more evidence of a sloppy crime? You commit a crime with an eyewitness there. You commit a crime by leaving the knife sheath. You allegedly turn off the phone and turn it back on, so it's off during the key period of the killings. That data tracks the car to and from the location of this crime scene. I mean, for a criminology student, we've talked about this before. We've been covering this case since it broke down, since it happened on Sidebar. Actually, we were covering it since the killings, even before there was arrest of Bryan Kohberger. One of the big questions is, you study criminology, you're not a criminal mastermind.
Right. Everybody thinks, and especially someone in a situation like that, that they can pull off the perfect crime, that you're smarter than everybody else, that I got this figured out, and, I'm going to do this for whatever reason you decide that you want to do it. The thrill of it, the thrill of the chase. Uh, but yeah, there are no perfect crimes. Inevitably, especially in the age that we live in, with the technology, with surveillance, there are no perfect crimes, and good flat-foot police work is ultimately going to connect these dots and bring people to justice.
Matt, would it be surprising that we don't find out about this now?
So Brenda, I personally believe she referenced him by name because this interview, this with her being in that interrogation or that interview room or wherever she is there in the jail, this is 2 years after the fact. So, she's probably knows his name is Bryan Kohberger because he was arrested. And his name is all over the news. You know what I mean? So, yeah, everyone knew his name at this point. Yeah. She probably didn't know his name when she saw him. I doubt if she knew who he was when she saw him there that night. But, now, 2 years later, when she's arrested and taken in, yeah, at this point, everybody knows his name.
Or, excuse me, that we didn't.
You want to go where everybody knows your name. Dun, dun, dun. Da, 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 da. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to find. Okay, sorry. I was just making sure that I had this other thing pulled up that I wanted to share.
Didn't find out about this until now. Again, prosecutors haven't confirmed it. Maybe because there's a gag order in this case. There's been accusations of problems with pretrial publicity, media leaks. Would it be, hey, of course, in a case like this is how we might be finding out about a witness. The prosecution wasn't going to reveal potentially one of their star witnesses in this way, or, well, let alone now, right before trial in August. Maybe they were trying to say, we're not going to let anybody know who our witnesses are. We were not going to let anybody know about our DoorDash driver before August.
Well, normally, Jesse, in my experience, at some point prior to this trial, which is scheduled in August, the parties are going to exchange witness lists, and they're going to exchange that information maybe through a court filing. And so
I'd say they talked to her pretty quickly, Miss King. Yeah, because they would have wanted to, cleared her of any, or not specifically, but the DoorDash driver, I know they did speak to and clear her like very soon after the fact, to make sure that she wasn't a suspect. You know what I'm saying? Let me make sure I read that right. I wonder when she spoke to the police and if it was before all the. Yeah, okay. I read it right.
You're able to determine, who potential witnesses are in this case, and that's what's shocking about this. If this was something that was known, soon after this investigation began, because we know there was a DoorDash delivery, why didn't they know about this person? Why didn't the public know about this other potential witness? Unless it was only revealed, during this traffic stop, and
Yeah.
that makes it unusual.
And by the way, just before I let you go, so now with jury selection looming, Kohberger's defense team, they are fighting to delay the trial. They're arguing that pretrial publicity has been prejudicial. There's this recent Dateline episode with unreleased details that it's tainted the jury pool. Prosecutors, though, they're insisting the trial should proceed. Both sides, by the way, they're set to hash all this out at a pretrial hearing later this afternoon. We're going to actually dedicate a full sidebar recap to that hearing later on today, so I hope everybody can check it out. But do you think this trial is going to get delayed?
Well, it doesn't appear to me that there would be a sufficient basis for a delay. Okay. I mean, the interesting thing about this, if you remember, Jesse, very early in this case, they wanted to take this case to trial. They wanted to enforce the speedy trial rule. And here they are now on the eve of trial, months and months and months later, and they're asking for a further delay. I don't think that the change of, I mean, there has already been a change of venue, so I don't think pretrial publicity is going to be an issue here. It doesn't matter if people heard about this case; can they keep an open mind and make a decision? And they have attorneys, they have mitigation specialists that can deal with the issues of the death penalty if you get to the penalty phase in this case. I don't see a strong argument for delaying this trial based on what I've read about what the defense is concerned about.
Well, we shall see. Again, we're going to do a full recap about the arguments. Maybe we'll even get a decision from the judge today. Matt Mangino, so great seeing you. Thank you for jumping on so quickly as we wanted to break this down as quickly as possible, this mysterious witness, whether or not she will testify at trial. Matt, good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Laura, what footage do you mean? You mean the body cam footage of the chick? Is that what you're talking about? I'm not sure, but I think that this is like new. I think that she was pulled over again recently, and this is more like I feel like this body cam footage is recent. What, baby? You want pumpkin pie? Yeah. We don't have any pumpkin pie. What are you talking about pumpkin pie for? We don't have pumpkin pie. What is she talking about? Patricia says, I'm sure she was heavily scrutinized. This guy is sounding kind of silly. I think so too. Yeah, a little bit. Go make a pumpkin pie. I don't have any pumpkin. Thinking about the whole like gluten-free thing, what in the world are we going to do for Thanksgiving? Oh my gosh. And Christmas. I mean, there's stuff that I make every time that she loves that we always have. I'll just have to make it a gluten-free version of it. It's like her chocolate eclair cake. She loves chocolate eclair. I make this chocolate eclair every year for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. And it's so easy to make, by the way. FYI, cafe time. So you take like a 9x13 baker pan. Okay. It doesn't have to be glass. It can be a plastic like cake or plastic something. I usually make it in a plastic one. Well, that was until Dale melted it on the stove. So now I do make them in glass because glass is the only thing I have left. But The the chocolate eclair is graham crackers. You use graham crackers, and then you take and you mix. Chris has a great gluten-free bourbon pecan. Ooh, that sounds good. What does he use for the pie crust? Um, I believe this one was recent, but she was pulled over before, so 2 times in the last 2.5 years. Yeah, but I think this one is more recent. Hold on, let me see. Is it baking yet? No, ma'am. I'm sure it took some time for the sleuthies to figure out her name and find stuff on her. Yeah, I believe so. Sleuthies are quick. Pecan pie sounds delicious. Yeah, they are. Well, it originally was found on that Axon website, or not website, but YouTube channel. I can't remember exactly what channel he said it was, but something Axon. DUI arrest videos are pretty popular on YouTube. Maybe some just requested it because it was a DUI and then found out the whole Kohberger thing when they watched it. We have to cook gluten-free for my stepson's girlfriend. There you go. She would spill it, Margaret or Morgana. So, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something, and now I don't remember what. Oh, the chocolate eclair. So you take a box of, or actually 2 small boxes of Jello French vanilla pudding, and you mix that like it says to, with I think it's 2 cups of milk per box. So 4 cups of milk. You mix it, and then you add in a tub of Cool Whip, and you fold all that together. And then in the pan, you layer the bottom with graham crackers, and then you pour half of that Jello pudding mixture on, and then you put another layer of graham crackers on top of that, and then you pour the other half of the Jello pudding mixture, and then another layer of graham crackers, and then on top of that top layer of graham crackers, you put chocolate frosting. You put it in the refrigerator for about 24 hours, and those graham crackers get nice and soft, and it's the most delicious dessert ever. And Jolie loves it. My whole family loves it. But anyway, I made her one for her birthday. Or wait, was it her birthday? No, I lied. I made it for Eli's birthday, maybe? I can't remember. It don't bake, Margaret. It's a no-bake dessert. And so, anyway, I made it for Eli's birthday, but I made it a gluten-free version because I do, Gail. I mean, you don't have to, but I do put it in the I put it in the microwave and get it to where I can pour it out, and then just use like one of those offset spatulas to frost the top of it. And it's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. But I bought gluten-free graham crackers and used those, and it was really good. It was really good. I mean, there was a different texture to it, because the gluten-free graham crackers are more gritty, but they were good. It was really yum. Really, really yum. So, But you want to let it sit in the refrigerator for at least 12 hours. I mean, I usually let it sit overnight. Like if we're having it for Thanksgiving or Christmas, I make it the day before, right? And because if it's crunchy still it's not as good, I don't think. So you need to give it some time for those graham crackers to soften up. Kind of like you would do with like banana pudding. If you make banana pudding and use vanilla wafers, vanilla wafers. You want to let it set long enough for those vanilla wafers to get soft. All right, now we're passing on to this next thing, okay? I'm going to share this next thing with y'all, and y'all, this is insanity to me. Before I do, I have to go potty break, so I'm leaving y'all on a cliffhanger. I'm going to turn some music on for your entertainment. We'll feed some ducks. Baby's not here, so we can feed some ducks. And I have to go to the potty. So. All right. I'm going to go potty, and I will be right back. Oh, Patricia, that's so sweet. He made you a pie for your first date. Oh my God, I love that. That's so cute. I'm waiting while the whole music. She goes to bake us a pie. Bake me a pumpkin pie. Okay, now let me share this. I am so excited about this. And FYI, I might get dinged for sharing this. So I might leave a little bit of music playing in the background. Because if they say if you change it up a little bit, that it helps. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's worth giving it a shot, right? Hold on. Let me share this tab. All right. I'm going to turn the music back on and have a little bit of background music playing while we watch this. Ooh. Hold on. I'll play that one. What did I say, Morgana, about Don? What did I say? What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Patricia? I meant Donnie. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I totally meant Donnie. Totally meant Donnie. I wonder if Patricia's husband can make pie. Patricia, can your husband make pie too, or is that a no? I'm sorry. I meant... Patricia said I had to double check the chat. I thought I had a doppelganger. Sorry. I'm sorry. Speaking of pie. Yeah, yours is burning in the oven, Margaret. When it's done, I'll put it under my refrigerator, because that's probably where you're at. By the time the pie is ready, you're probably going to be under the fridge. So I'll just stick it under the fridge for your convenience. Okay? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to hit the play button on this. This is only 3 minutes long. So I will start and stop and do some kind of a little bit of commentary in between here, because I don't want NBC News Now to ding me and like ruin my life forever. So here we go. Watch this, you guys. Listen, the title says students who found Idaho University murders speak out for the first time. Listen to this.
For the first time, the students who discovered the grisly university...
Oh, wait. Hold on. I got to turn the volume up.
For the first time, the students who discovered the grisly University of Idaho murder scene are speaking out.
There's a big realization that we had been stalked for so many months.
Describing the morning, students Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, and Maddie Mogan were found stabbed to death in their off-campus home.
As soon as I stepped in the house, I was like, oh, something is so not right.
So these are two new faces. That first gal, they give their names here, but if you remember the court documents we've read, they just give initials for the most part. So that first girl that spoke and this girl are not the surviving roommates. These girls do not live in the house. These are girls, friends of the college kids that Bethany and or Dylan called to come over and help them because they were scared, right? I'm going to start this over.
For the first time, the students who discovered the grisly University of Idaho murder scene are speaking out.
There's a big realization that we had been stalked for so many months.
So, I can't remember their names, but it'll say here in a few minutes, okay? So this is the first time that we're seeing these girls. And then we also see the hunter guy that was the one that found Xana and said, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. We see his face too.
Describing the morning, students Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, and Maddie Mogan were found stabbed to death in their off-campus home.
As soon as I stepped in the house, I was like, oh, something is so not right.
Friends Josie Louterin and Emily Allen and
Okay, there's their names. Josie something and Emily Loudent.
and Maddie Mogan were found stabbed to death in their off-campus home.
As soon as I stepped in the house, I was like, oh, something is so not right.
Friends Josie Louterin and Emily Allen and her boyfriend Hunter.
This is Hunter. He's the one that found Xana.
Johnson were the first on the scene. In Prime Video's upcoming docuseries One Night in Idaho, the
College Murders, new original series. If you see it here, it says on Amazon Prime, starts July 11th. You guys, July 11th. That is like what? A little two and a half weeks, 3 weeks away. Oh my God, it's going to be so good. Because this that we're seeing, these little clips are clips from that docuseries that's starting. Hold on.
College Murders, revealing that one of the surviving roommates, Dylan, called saying she was scared and asking them to come over.
When Dylan had called, I didn't think it was urgent. When we got there, Dylan and Bethany had exited the house. They frightened, just kind of like just hands on their mouth, like I don't know what's going on type thing.
That's insanity. So they were already out of the house when those kids arrived. When their friends showed up, they were already outside the house and just standing there like, we don't know what's going on, but something bad's happened. Something bad is going on. Can you imagine? I mean, as her friend, this gal here, probably when she's like, gets the phone call that you have to come over here, you know, we're scared. She's like, we didn't think it was urgent. You know what I mean? But, so that tells me that that Bethany and Dylan didn't know that those kids had been murdered. You know. Hey, Susan. Haven't been here. I hope all is well with every single person. Well, I'm glad that you're here. And that's okay. I haven't been here either. I haven't been live for a couple weeks. So they were freaked out, right?
I set foot in the house and immediately Hunter was like, get out, somebody call 911.
Johnson was the first to realize they were in a crime scene. You can hear him on the 911 call, ushering everyone outside.
Yeah, okay. When we were interviewing them,
Now listen to this. So the guy there on the right with the glasses is one, it says Matthew Galkin, director and executive producer, I guess, of One Night in Idaho. So what he says here in just a second is very telling. There is so much good information packed into this 3 minutes that is mind-blowing to me, and I cannot wait for this series.
it was quite a raw emotional experience for them to relive sort of second by second how that day played out and how the weeks played out afterwards.
6 weeks after the November 2022 killings, graduate student Bryan Kohberger was arrested and charged with the murders. A not guilty plea has been entered on his behalf, with his trial set to begin in early August.
There's this person out there who had just murdered our brother, and and he's still out there somewhere.
The new series also features exclusive interviews.
So that part about he had just murdered our brother, I don't know if that was one of Ethan's actual brothers. I need to go back and look at that real quick. Or if that was one of the I can't remember the name of the fraternity that he was part of, but oh shoot, I didn't mean to. Hold on, how did I do that? I didn't mean to add the. Hold on, you guys. How do I take that off? Okay, there. The show comments. Okay, I took that off. I'm going to rewind that again real quick to see who was talking. I don't know if that was Ethan's siblings.
Set to begin in early August.
There's this person out there who had just murdered our brother, and he's still out there somewhere.
The new series also features exclusive interviews with the parents of Chapin and Mogan.
This can't be true. I mean, this is Idaho.
Can we expect to get any insights from those survivors as to why this happened?
We certainly have a strong theory of why this happened. We're expecting that other aspects might come out in the trial, but we dug pretty deep on this one.
Okay, Stephen Romo joins us now live. Steve.
Very interesting. I want to hear that again too, you guys. They talk about how, the one on the left asked him, "Is there anything that you learned why this happened?" And he's like, "We have a pretty strong indication, and things may come out in the trial." So I feel like based on the information that they got from the families and the friends, there's going to be so much that comes out in this trial that we had no idea about. No idea. Which blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind.
He's still out there somewhere.
The new series also features exclusive interviews with the parents of Chapin and Mogan.
This can't be true. I mean, this is Idaho.
Can we expect to get any insights from those survivors as to why this happened?
We certainly have a strong theory of why this happened. We're expecting that other aspects might come out in the trial, but we dug pretty deep on this one.
Okay, Stephen Romo joins us now live. Stephen, a lot of people are going to be wondering, the trial is set for this summer. Will it happen in August?
Yeah, that is the question. It's already been pushed back a couple times already. Kohberger's attorneys have asked that it be delayed yet again. They're saying for the publicity that's been involved here, and they specifically mentioned Dateline NBC coverage, saying that they need more time to prepare now. There's a...
And he's like, and here I am sitting here on an NBC news outlet, desk, and they're saying it's our fault. So
a hearing coming up on June 18th. We'll see if they will agree to push.
So this was before that hearing. I don't know. This said 9 days ago. So that would have been what? 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. On the 14th, 15th, something like that, of this month is when this aired on this YouTube channel. So it would have been a few days before the hearing took place. So
push that back, but there's going to be even more publicity now with this series that's set to come out. Yeah. A lot of people are already talking about it.
And to talk about the series, just a reminder, it's on Prime Video. Is it already out or is it about to come out?
It's coming out July 11th. It'll be out, and a lot of people looking forward to that one.
Okay, Steve, we thank you for that. We thank you for watching.
So, y'all, that's going to be so good. That's going to be so good. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. I'll have to mark calendars for that. That's going to be so good. Anybody else eager to watch that? Has anybody else seen this? Did anybody else see this? Know that this was going on? Because I did not. until just a couple, 2 or 3 days ago. I did not know. I had heard about the book, but I did not know, and I had heard about a docuseries starting, but I hadn't seen these clips of those girls and Hunter. I hadn't seen that at all. It's pretty good. I'm excited for that to come out. And I wonder if we'll get a little bit more of clues as to what the survivors and the friends and family thinks was the reason he did it. If they indeed know, you know what I mean? So... super interesting. Any other big cases that you guys are watching, keeping tabs on? I have, like I said, I've missed a lot in the true crime world. I haven't caught any of the Dateline or 2020 specials about Karen Reed. I haven't caught those. I do want to watch those. Like I said, I wanted to watch them this weekend. Last week sometime I just didn't get the opportunity to do so. So Donna, yeah, I don't know anything about that one. That's one that I have not kept up on. I don't know why, it just never intrigued me, and I just kept bypassing anything Adelson related. The statement from Brennan was crazy, right? Crazy. All right. Well, you guys, it is 2:26. So, husband will be getting home from work soon. Kiddo is requesting, what was it she just asked me for a minute ago? And I told her I would be done in here in a couple minutes. I can't remember what she wanted. She wanted me to do something or get her something. I don't remember. Miss King says, I want Wendy to be arrested. Oh, disrespectful to the jury. Pumpkin pie. Yeah, that's what I can't get her no pumpkin pie. What is wrong with that child? I'm gonna have to get her something pumpkin pie adjacent. I don't know. She kills me. She cracks me up. All right. Yeah, I'm going to jump out of here and go do that for her. And I've got to get some more work stuff done in here today. So I'm going to do that. And I will see you guys later. I'm going to try to pop in on... it was great seeing you too, Brenda. I'm going to try to pop in on Wednesday. I have a doctor's appointment coming up too. I need to see what day because they changed it on me. I had it scheduled for one day and they changed it, so I need to see what day they changed it to. And I have to go get blood work done before that appointment for my thyroid. So, but anyway, I will plan on popping in for a little bit on Wednesday to hang out with you guys for a bit. See what we can find out. Maybe the judge, maybe we'll have some more information about Kohberger then. I don't know. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me for a little bit. Love you. Make sure to hit that thumbs up before you leave. And if you stumble over here and you have not subscribed yet, I would love to have you subscribe. If you replayers are watching this, make sure to put a hashtag replay in the comments down below the video. And I will see you guys hopefully on Wednesday sometime. Okay? Love you all. Bye.
you.